Patrick and John for kicking off the presentations this morning. Up next, we have Stacey Fogel from Cotton Info. Keeping with the theme of cutting-edge tech, over the last 3 years, the Cotton Research and Development Corporation, CRDC, has been undertaking the Cotton Landcare Tech-Innovations 2021 project to help Australian cotton growers to better report and improve on on-farm biodiversity. Stacey Vogel is a Research and Development Manager from Cotton Info, an organisation committed to connect growers with research. Stacey will provide us with an overview of how the cotton industry is supporting cotton growers with practical and cost-effective technology solutions for restoring habitat connectivity and monitoring and managing biodiversity across the industry. Biodiversity can have multiplying benefits for the land, so it's with interest to learn more what Stacey and her team have found. Due to internet connections, Stacey has provided her presentation pre-recorded. So please still post your questions in Pigeonhole, and hopefully we will have Stacey available after the conference to answer them. Remember, if you want those questions answered, please put your name in the chat as well. Okay, kick off the presentation now.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Stacey Vogel, and I am the R&D Manager for the Cotton Research Development Corporation, as well as the Natural Resource Technical Lead with Cotton Info, which is Australian Cotton Industry's national extension team. For the past 25 years, I've been working with landholders, natural resource management organisations, and different agriculture industries to maintain and improve condition of natural resources on farm. I'm participating in the National Landcare Conference to hear and learn how other growers and industries are working with landholders to achieve environmental outcomes on farms, and to share with you this afternoon some examples of how the Australian cotton industry is working with our growers to improve natural condition in cotton landscapes. In this presentation this afternoon, I'm mainly going to be talking about the Cotton Landcare Tech-Innovations project and some exciting actions and opportunities that have evolved out of the project. But first, I thought for those online that may not know very much about the Australian cotton industry, that I would start with a brief Cotton 101, as well as outline some of the industry's environmental sustainability and our RD&E initiatives and programs. So the Australian cotton industry is located in Eastern Australia and mainly along the riverine areas, floodplains and wetlands associated with the major inland rivers of the Northern Murray-Darling Basin and Fitzroy Basin. In recent years, we have seen expansion of the industry up into Northern Australia as well. We are an irrigation and dryland industry with cotton grown over the summer months, and cotton is usually grown in rotation with the grain crop. There are up to 1,500 cotton farms in Australia, with a number of farms growing cotton in a year depends on the availability or depending on fluctuating water availability. Cotton farms are usually mixed farms. They grow on average about 500 hectares of cotton, which comprises about 17% of the total farm size. According to research undertaken in 2019 and supported by our annual Cotton Grower Survey, about 20% of the average cotton farm is native vegetation, with around 7,000 kilometres of major rivers and streams and around 10,000 kilometres of minor streams occurring on cotton properties. So there's a significant amount of native vegetation and riparian areas managed by our cotton farmers. The Australian cotton industry is committed to sustainability and supporting our growers to manage their natural resources on farm. We have one of the world's leading voluntary farm environmental management systems, the Australian Cotton Best Management Practice Program, also referred to as MyBMP. MyBMP supports growers through the latest science and innovation to benchmark and continuously improve their management practices on farm. We have around 71% of farm businesses participating in MyBMP, and around 10% of those are fully accredited. The industry, through our sustainability reporting, have also made a commitment to setting and meeting global economic, social and environmental sustainability targets and benchmarking our performance against those targets over time. The sustainability report and MyBMP are also helping provide evidence of responsibly grown cotton to global stewardship standards such as the Better Cotton Initiative, who have retail giants such as Nike, Levi and IKEA sourcing responsibly grown cotton through them for the increasingly environmentally and socially conscious consumers. The cotton industry is also about to undertake our 4th environmental assessment, which is an independent assessment of the industry's environmental performance, which we undertake every 10 years. The industry supports growers to produce environmental sustainable cotton by funding research and extension to develop best management practices with significant investment over the past decade, looking at what is of value to a farming cotton business of having biodiversity on farm, and how can growers optimise the services that biodiversity on farm is potentially providing their farming business. Our more recent NRM R&D investments are focused on improving the environmental footprint of cotton farms, with a particular focus on developing supporting technology and tools to better and more efficiently both manage areas for farm for biodiversity conservation and measure biodiversity changes over time, which is a great segue into the Cotton Landcare Tech-Innovations project. The Cotton Landcare Tech-Innovations project, led by the Cotton Research Development Corporation, or CRDC, is a collaborative project with the University of New England and Queensland's University of Technology, with support from the Australian Government's National Landcare Program's Smart Farming Partnership Initiative Round 1. The 3-year project, due to finish mid-next year, builds on international best practice to develop and implement cutting-edge technologies to help the Australian cotton industry both report on and better manage on-farm biodiversity. The project has 4 key activities which are listed here on the slide. Development of regional biodiversity management guidelines for cotton catchments, research into innovative revegetation techniques for heavy clay soils common on the floodplains in cotton catchments, research into technology for acoustic monitoring of biodiversity on cotton farms, and a large program of collaborative extension activities to encourage a legacy of biodiversity action in cotton catchments. Activity 1, the Biodiversity Management Guidelines, is now completed. The work identifies high priority areas and management practices across cotton landscapes to target restoration and revegetation works for the benefit of local threatened and iconic species. And the project defined a cotton landscape as a cotton property with a 5-kilometre buffer, which is the non-shaded area on the map, top right-hand corner of this slide. The information is available on the Cotton Info website as a web tool. Our growers can click on the local government area to access biodiversity asset information for the region, such as total area of threatened ecological communities, length of major rivers and creeks, main vegetation types, and key threatened and iconic species in their local area. The web tool also provides growers with a list of the priority management actions for restoring and protecting their local threatened and iconic species, which are listed here at the bottom of the map. In addition, growers can also request to access the maps that can be used as a guide for determining high priority areas on their farm that will benefit from revegetation, which is shown by the olive green on the map, or restoration conservation activities, which is shown by the orange areas on the map. This work is an important outcome for the Australian cotton industry and underpins our RD&E investment, as well as the development of collaborative partnerships to improve biodiversity in cotton catchments. The second activity under the Cotton Landcare Tech-Innovations project is being led by the University of New England's Dr. Rhiannon Smith, who is researching cost-effective methodologies for improving revegetation on heavy clay soils common in cotton catchments. The focus of the research project is direct seeding technologies, and in collaboration with the UK-based ecosystems restoration specialist Dendra Systems, UNE are investigating the feasibility of using drones to undertake large-scale plantings, as well as looking at the different delivery systems for undertaking native seed plantings. The project is also investigating germination and dormancy breaking processes and the interaction between soil disturbance, moisture management, and weeds, and how these impact on tree survival and growth on heavy clay soils. Despite all the challenges that drought, COVID, and flooding have thrown at the research team over the past few years, 75 hectares of trials have been planted on cotton farms across New South Wales, with initial benchmarking and monitoring the sites undertaken. Our intention is to continue to monitor the survival rates of these sites over the longer term, so beyond the timeframes of this particular project. So why are we trialling drone technology for revegetation? Most cotton farms occur in semi-arid regions on heavy clay soils. Clay soils tend to dry out quickly, and combined with variability in rainfall and high temperature, it can be very difficult establishing native vegetation. This research project is testing whether drones potentially provide an alternative to traditional, expensive and time-consuming revegetation methods, such as tube stock planting or direct seeding using tractors. These traditional reveg techniques can only be done when the soil is dry. In contrast, drones can plant into already saturated soils, increasing the likelihood of seed germination. And here we're talking about floodplain species that naturally found seed after a flood event. Therefore, drones have the capacity to replicate natural conditions, so we're more likely to get successful establishment of native vegetation on cotton farms. So how does the drone technology work? Using drones, UNE have planted about 40 hectares of trial sites using 2 different planting methodologies, planting into pre-rip lines and planting over existing vegetation, which is undisturbed. The drones are broad spreading the seeds, as you can see from the top middle photo. Dendra systems have drone technology where the seed is encapsulated in a water-soluble pod, which can be fired into the ground, similar as a high-powered rifle. However, they haven't had a lot of success with that particular technology in Australia because our clays are so hard set that the pods tend to shatter on impact, so hence the broad spreading technique. Sorry, excuse me. The drones are loaded with a mix of seeds and an inert substance such as bentonite coated sawdust, better known as kitty litter, which is required to help facilitate an even flow of the seeds from the drone. It takes about 20 minutes to plant 1 hectare, and each drone can hold up to 20 kilograms, which includes the seed and the kitty litter. And depending on the size of seed, they're planting on average 500 grams a hectare of seed. Dr. Rhiannon Smith from UNE, who's at the top left, has been trialling seeds of a range of sizes which can be broadcast simultaneously. As with traditional direct seeding methods using tractors, they've had greater success with the larger seeded species such as acacias and casuarinas, and not a lot of success with the smaller seeded species like eucalyptus. While they didn't trial grasses, they suspect that the fluffy nature of the seeds may mean that they would require some sort of coating to prevent the seeds from floating in the mix or sticking to the bucket due to static electricity. One of the biggest challenges with direct seeding in Eastern Australia with using drones or tractors is controlling competition around the germinating seed. And hence a focus of UNE's research is whether different ground preparation methods can help reduce competition to favour the establishment of the planted seeds. As the project progresses, we'll be releasing communication material. So if you would like to keep abreast of the research, then please go to the CRDC website, and I will show you that web address at the end of this presentation. The third activity under the Cotton Landcare Tech-Innovations project is developing technology for cost-effective acoustic monitoring of biodiversity on cotton farms. The project is led by Queensland University of Technology, who are collaborating with UK partners at the University College of London. Through collection, training and testing acoustic recording data, the project has developed acoustic recognizer software for a subset of bird and bat species, which are indicators of biodiversity condition on cotton farms. Early in the project, an expert panel selected 7 target bird and 11 bat species to build deep machine learning AI systems known as convolutional neural networks, or CNNs, to recognise the call of these species. Target species were selected based on the representative different guilds of birds and bats found in cotton landscapes, on availability of existing call libraries, and likelihood of being able to collect field recordings for that species. In general, birds are easier to catalogue as their calls give clues to their species. However, bats' calls can be very similar. So it takes a lot of work to refine the library data set for the bat species. The QE team have achieved an overall accuracy of field recordings made on cotton farms of 87% for the target birds and about 90% for the bats, which they're very happy with. The Recognizer software is currently being integrated into low-cost weatherproof field sensors and will be trialled on cotton farms in southeastern Queensland in the coming months. This is a photo of the whiz-bang recorder that QUT have been developing. It can record bats and birds simultaneously and have the bird and bat CNNs loaded onto it, so it can ID them on board. This version has Wi-Fi, but it can also have cellular, and eventually it will be in a box and be powered by a solar panel. Although data can be sent over Wi-Fi or cellular, it is also stored on board if needed. To address regional internet connectivity issues, a smaller and cheaper recorder is being trialled that captures data onto a removable data card. So it doesn't have the connectivity or automated analysis capabilities that this one in the photo will have. The project's next step is to develop a visualisation tool for the data captured by the sensors, enabling growers to monitor the bird and bat activity on farm and relate this to biodiversity condition on farm and management activities such as natural pest control. The type of visualisation tools that the QU team are exploring include visualisation tools such as this animation, which I'm about to show you, which shows the results of the CNN scanning through a recording made on a cotton farm overnight. Unfortunately, because we couldn't embed videos into the PowerPoint, I'm going to have to show this as a bit of a clunky slideshow. But what it's showing is each slide will show a 2-hour interval from dusk. So as the CNN finds a bat call, it identifies it to species. The animation shows the CNN going through a file and quantifying the number of calls from each of the 10 bat species listed on the left. Note that these are individual calls that have been detected, not individual bats. However, the relative number of calls between the species likely gives an indication of the relative abundance of each species. It's quite a cool tool, little tool, and is definitely much more effective as a video. But beyond the project, we hope to trial the field sensors and visualisation tools such as this with our growers to evaluate how useful these types of tools are for engaging, monitoring and reporting on farm biodiversity. The fourth and final activity under the Cotton Landcare Tech-Innovations project focuses on working with cotton growers, regional networks and groups to extend the outcomes from the project, build local capacity and encourage the use of new technologies and best practice for biodiversity. In 2019, 15 growers and consultants from Northern New South Wales and Southern Queensland participated in drone operation and application workshops with drone specialists Fly the Farm. Recently, in partnership with the University of New England, Landcare Australia, Danger Systems and local cotton growers, we've completed a series of revegetation field days just demonstrating the drone technology, as well as the latest technology and tools for undertaking more traditional revegetation methodologies such as tube stock plantings. The field days also provided the 60 participants with an opportunity to hear from cotton growers with experience in revegetation, some of the lessons they have learned from their successes and failures. We are currently developing a series of native plant identification and running a series of native plant identification and propagation workshops in partnership with Weewil Local Aboriginal Lands Council. This workshop builds on previous work that the Weewil Lauk have been doing on cultural uses of local native grass seed. The workshops will help build capacity for a small nursery to be built on the Lauk premises that Weewil Lauk members and members of the Weewil community, including students from the Weewil High School, can access to further develop and share native plant propagation skills and knowledge. And finally, COVID willing, we hope to partnership with QUT, CSIRO and regional NRM groups to roll out over the coming months integrated pest management workshops looking at pest suppressive landscapes, which focus on natural pest habitat management and monitoring. And at these workshops, researchers from QUT will be demonstrating how the acoustic sensors can potentially be applied on farm to better understand what types of beneficials are potentially contributing to their natural pest control. So finally, what are some of the opportunities that have come from the project and where are we heading in the future? One of the most exciting opportunities that have come out that has come out of the Cotton Landcare Tech-Innovation project is the new 3-year partnership between Country Road and Landcare Australia, supported by the Australian cotton industry, to restore biodiversity on cotton farms. Country Road have pledged a minimum of $600,000 generated from the sales of their verified Australian cotton heritage sweats to a fund managed by Landcare Australia to undertake biodiversity restoration on cotton farms. The partnership is using the biodiversity priority management actions and restoration maps developed under the Cotton Landcare Tech-Innovations project as a guide to prioritise on-ground investment. The partnership, which was launched in October last year, will have an initial focus in the Namoy catchment, which is in northwestern New South Wales. The partnership was launched with a riparian revegetation project undertaken by the Carl family, who are cotton growers from the Weagle area. Additional revegetation projects will be announced by Country Road over the coming months, so stay tuned. This partnership is a really great example of how industry can work with brands and NGOs to achieve environmental outcomes. The partnership not only provides significant funds for implementing biodiversity projects on farms, it also showcases the benefits of improving biodiversity to other cotton farms in the region and demonstrates to the non-agricultural community, such as Country Road customers, that there are cotton farmers who are managing biodiversity on their farm. In terms of future activities, over the coming months, we will be undertaking biodiversity management behavioural science research to inform future RD&E, in particular, looking at on-farm adoption of priority management actions for threatened and iconic species in cotton landscapes. And this body of work will explore with growers and consultants what they see are the challenges and value to implementing these practices on farm. So in summing up, the Cotton Landcare Tech-Innovations project is an exciting project which will potentially provide innovative technologies for growers, assisting them to better manage and monitor biodiversity on farm. And we hope in the future to build on the great collaborative partnerships which have evolved from the project. Our growers and the industry as a whole are committed to long-term sustainability. We recognise that there are areas that we can improve in environmental performance, and the cotton industry is interested to see where we might align with other projects and initiatives. If you are interested in contacting CITC to discuss where you think we might be able to collaborate or support the work you are doing, then I encourage you to contact me. So thank you very much for listening to this presentation. If you would like more information about the Cotton Landcare Tech-Innovations project, you can find it at the CITC website at the address listed here. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Stacey. Sorry, I got a bit of feedback there, guys. Thanks for that, Stacey, for the great presentation. And it's great to see putting great minds together to come up with these innovative ideas to support the local farmers, but also the flora and fauna. Just on that partnership, if anyone gets a chance to check out the Cotton Australia and the Landcare Australia website in regards to that particular partnership, it's a great collaboration between, exactly like Stacey said, all the different stakeholders. If anyone from the audience wants to get more information, I just Googled Tech Innovation CRDC, and Stacey's email address comes up on the website just there at the bottom. Okay, guys, now we have a 9-minute break, and we'll be back for the last 2 presentations for the Sustainable Agricultural Stream sponsored by Gallagher. So stick around. We have Danny from Loddon Plains Landcare discussing farm design for improved biodiversity. And we have Rowan from Bamborough Agroforestry Farm, who will share his wisdom on conservation and agroforestry. All right, guys, I'll see you back here in a second.